NIKKE video. Well, this is actually my second take on the Emilia video because my first impression was that, you know what? It's just a one copy for collection. You'll maybe see her in play for PvP because of her splash, but for most players, it's just one copy for collection and save for rem. Well, look what we have here. I'm going to showcase in this video the special usage niche of Emilia, and we're going to break it down to see how she is pretty much comparable with Scarlet while being 10,000 power behind. As you can see, my Emilia here is only 444, right? One copy, not even bonded, whereas Scarlet is fully bonded, core 6 with full overload gears, but Emilia was able to keep up. Now, this is the reason why. If we go into the chatterbox, yes, I know chatterbox is going to be weak to water, but hey, it's a 444 Emilia against the 10-10-7 Scarlet with full overload, right? It's not the same level, but the reason why Emilia is actually decent, and I think for future content may see some use, is this. Okay, watch closely at her splash range. Look at this. Now, do you see how many members are popping up on the screen? It's because of this skill. Her second skill activates when hitting a target with full charge and deals fixed damage to the main body. However, it seems to be counting multiple parts as well. And that's why when she's hitting something, it's proccing like 2 billion shots. So you can see here, all the parts are getting hit, and then there's 5 or 4 numbers at the bottom as well, which is actually quite crazy. And this is the reason that Emilia was able to keep up the DPS, right? The DPS raise that is with the Scarlet. So overall, I think at the end of the day, Emilia will have her niche uses. She's not completely as bad as I initially thought she would be for PvE. I think later on when we have bosses with multiple parts, I could see it working. I could definitely see it working. So then what do you build? So if you're gonna overload her, you go for attack, ally advantage, and I think 1 or 2 lines of ammo will be great, because if you use her in the testing ground, you'll see that she does have this really awkward timing where when she uses her ult, which basically is a Snow White ult, she times it with her reload. Now if you have extra ammo capacity, then you will be able to avoid that issue. And her great strength is her AoE, right? So I'm gonna assume that soon we'll have a union raid or solo raid boss that you can use Emilia in, and if you load up the team, you will be able to essentially hit all the parts of that boss, almost spanning across half of the map, and then each part will be triggering the extra damage, which is quite crucial. So that's how I think you can see her comparable in damage to some of the more traditional damage dealers, because if we look here, she'll burst, and you can see how massive that range is going to be. But with all that said, currently I just don't see myself fully investing in her. But look at this range. All right, we'll just hit somewhere else, because this is not that far. But if we hit here or down there, you can see the range is quite big. Okay, my god. But like I've said, Emilia's current moment is not even at her full power, because we still have a unit named Rem Best Girl, and when she gets released, she'll be buffing Emilia alongside even units like A2, Lapchan when she gets her treasure, and also more importantly Scarlet Black Altar. So I'm not counting Emilia out just yet, but as it currently stands, she's definitely going to see some niche uses in PvE, potentially as your 4th or 5th team against the multiple part bosses that have their parts really spread out. But also in PvP, that's right, we tried to do some testing on PvP, but unfortunately due to the power gap, when we just go into a fight, it doesn't really matter if we use Emilia, we'll wipe the enemy team out. So for the majority of the small spenders or free-to-play whales, it doesn't really matter. I could put anyone here and the power gap would just make me beat the other team regardless, right? So it's difficult to test. So I'll report back once I hear back from PvP champions such as Karipo. But with regards to PvP, if you're on a level playing field in your current bracket, then Emilia is going to be really good, because she hits so many units across the enemy team, so the regen for the burst is going to be really high. But for PvE, like I've said, aside from the niche uses, I really cannot recommend pulling for multiple copies until we've at least tested Rem and the synergy between the two collab girls. But you know what? She has at least proven herself to be okay. I know the bar is pretty low, but for collab characters, you know what, this is all right. The range and the multiple procs of the bonus damage will definitely come into play, I think, sometime in the future. Now, the other part where I don't recommend pulling for her is the animation from the back. I don't have much to say, and this $60 skin, I mean, just see for yourself. There is some kneecaps being showcased here, which is fantastic. But other than that, everything else is literally completely covered. But you know what? It doesn't matter because we are not, quote unquote, the intended audience. Like some people in my chat have told me, ReZero is extremely popular in Japan. And for that reason, we will be able to see tomorrow, in a couple of hours' time, if this number goes from 314 to like 500, because you can see in February they didn't make 1/4 of the January anniversary revenue. So maybe they bring out the big guns for ReZero, and maybe we'll be able to see a huge revenue jump for NIKKE, which will be fantastic leading up to the half anniversary, the 1.5 anniversary. But overall, Emilia is not as bad as I initially thought. Definitely going to see PvP play, and for PvE, I expect her to see some usage, especially water being a very popular code, and a lot of enemies are weak to it. So if you can get 3 or 4 lines of elemental advantage against the enemy, you know what? She might just be your top DPS. All right, enough copium. We'll just wait for Rem. And anyhow, it's TimaeuSS here, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye now.